Good meowing guys, gals, embs, and YouTube catters. Well, we're on the cusp of the release of a Burst Protocol, with pre-releases coming out this weekend in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. And with this release, we get the brand new archetype in ElvenNotes. Now, I've already made a video discussing ElvenNotes that you can find on the channel as well. I wanted to give an updated list, an updated guide, and show off some of the other lines that ElvenNotes can do, because with this supplementary engine, we can actually create a monster effect negate on our 5th summon before we search anything to protect us from both Droll and Nibiru during our combo before we go into our White Forest lines or our Azamina lines as well. So I wanted to quickly talk about this anti-Droll line, because this is something, of course, if you played White Forest, this is something we've needed, but we also can get into some pretty strong and established inboards as well if we do get to go full combo without having to worry about Droll. So let's take a look at the list real fast. So we are still running 40 cards in the list. This is, of course, not finalized list. This is, I just trimmed it down as much as possible for as much consistency as possible to show off the archetype. But we are on the triple Sylvie, the triple LZ, the 1 LZ Azamina, the White Forest. You may notice we have cut out the Esteller, and that's just because if we go into our ElvenNotes line, Esteller is really only in the White Forest list because it's the only White Forest monster that plays around Droll the best. But if we go into our ElvenNotes line, like I said, and I'll be showing off here in a second, we don't need to play around Droll because we have that negate before we search anything. And then Esteller also is the worst normal summon out of the deck. We are on the 1 Vengeance, the 1 Diabell Star, the White Witch, and the 1 Black Witch. Pretty normal. You're not going to go up in any of these names. Then we're on 3 ElvenNotes Diana. So Lucina is going to be your Kashtira Fenrir of the archetype, where it searches your other ElvenNote monsters. A lot of decks that are going to be splashing the ElvenNotes are going to be maxing out on the Lucinas because of that monster search. But ElvenNotes Diana actually places the continuous spell Homecoming Parallelism. So we want to max out on our Diana, because if we're maxing out on Lucina and using a Lucina search to get to our Diana, then of course we're playing into Droll already. So we want to max out on the Diana and then have our Lucina search later on in our combos to search out a Fortuna to set our continuous trap for another negate on our inboard. We have the 1 Lucina, the 1 Fortuna, and the 1 Power Patron for our synchro plays. Then our hand traps, triple Fuelos, double Perulia. Of course, Perulia can be Droll and Lockbird, or could be Ghost Bell, whichever is format dependent. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. And then we have our triple Witch of the White Forest starters, our 1 Tails, our double Wanted Seeker of the Symbol Spoils, since we have to cut down on something, unfortunately. The 1 Homecoming Parallelism, 1 Azamina Debtors. So we are still running Debtors with this deck. And the reason why is because Homecoming Parallelism and this subsequent anti-Droll line does lock us synchros for the turn. It's basically like running Witch of the White Forest. We won't have access to our Azamina engine. Our Azamina is being our only darks. So we will need to play Azamina Debtors to search off of our Deception to have set so we can go into an Illa Sylvia during our opponent's turn, or even if we don't need the Illa Sylvia, we can go into a Yugioh and have a search for follow-up in the next turn. The 1 Hollowed Azamina, since if we don't start with ElvenNotes line or don't start with Witch, we will still get into our Azamina line going full combo. The 1 Deception, the 1 Philia, Triple Tactics Talent, Called by the Grave, Civil Spoils of Betrayal Silvera, just because we need something to set off of the Diabell Star if we're ending on the Diabell Star Black Witch in our combo, and it also protects our board. You could also run Civil Spoils of the White Forest if you wanted in this slot as well. ElvenNotes, Maddening Rhapsodia, and a Curse of Diabell to round out our traps. So I know what you're thinking when you first look at this. This is very spell and trap light for a White Forest list, but like I said, ElvenNotes Diana, each copy of ElvenNotes Diana represents the continuous spell. The Fortuna represents the continuous trap. And then your Lucina represents our 2nd copy of Fortuna or our 4th copy of Diana to get into the continuous spell and trap as well. In the extra deck, we are running the Poplar, the Resilia, Silvera, all of our White Forest names. Black Rose Dragon for going second, since we do get to make level 7s pretty easily. We're also running Zarin the Chainbound Dragon. Now you don't get to make this in the combo. This is probably going to be our replacement in the future for Herald of the Arclight, since that has gotten banned in the most recent ban list. It is a level 7 tuner synchro, so we do get to summon this off of our Diabell as an extra negate to negate on the chain. We have the ElvenNotes Seraphim Stelitzia, as well as Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, Chaos Angel, Fabled Lenzi Lazabells, because this deck gets to pump out level 10s very easily. And then we have the Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, or Charizard to fix our hands, Moersil Yugioh, and Illa Sylvia. And then lastly, SP Little Knight to finish off the 15th extra deck slot. Next, I want to show how we can get into that anti-droll combo. So let me show off a couple of replays for that. So this first replay is just showing off that 2.5 card combo, because we don't have a good bridge into White Forest yet with the ElvenNotes. White Forest does bridge into the ElvenNotes though. We're going to start off with our ElvenNotes Diana. Like I talked about in the previous video over ElvenNotes, this is basically a Kashtira type archetype where all of these are inherent summons to the center main monster zone. The only way they can respond to these effects is obviously the effect on the field. So they would have to have an effect veiler or imperm, something like that, to interrupt this combo. But ElvenNotes Diana is going to place the ElvenNotes continuous spell. It's not going to search. And now we're going to go that Homecoming Parallelism effect. And this is where the extra hand trap or the monster comes into play here, because we have to send a monster from hand or field. Now, normally in our combo, if we're starting with the White Forest stuff, you can just send the ElvenNotes to clear up the center main monster zone to special summon another ElvenNotes. So you need to send a monster from hand or field with a different attribute than the one you're summoning. And the one we're always going to be summoning for this opening combo is the ElvenNotes Power Patron, the level 1 tuner, which is a fire. So if you do open Ash Blossom, you would not be able to send Ash Blossom to summon the Power Patron because they're both fires. We're going to special summon the Power Patron, and now we have a 1 and a 6, so we are going to synchro into the Stelitzia. We're going to activate the Stelitzia effect to special summon 1 level 6 or lower ElvenNotes monster, and guess what's an ElvenNotes monster? This Power Patron. So now we can use these two monsters to go into, on our 5th summon, the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And now with any one bridge card in hand with a Witch of the White Forest, we can go into our full White Forest combo as well. You don't want to activate the effect off the first synchro of the Power Patron because that would be a search, and we're trying to not play into Droll and Lockbird. But Power Patron, on the second time that we use it, we can activate its effect to add us our ElvenNotes monster, so we can even add us our Lucina here to search out our Fortuna as well from the deck. So let's see what it looks like in a full combo with a random test hand. Obviously not the best opening hand, but we do have access to all of our engines here. So we're just going to play the anti-Droll combo here to show off. We're going to special summon that Diana. The Diana is going to set that Parallelism. And since we have an extra copy of LZ in hand that we're not going to use, we now get to activate Parallelism, send that LZ of the White Forest, and special summon the Power Patron. Now we're going to go into the level 7, the Stelitzia, do the old yoinky sploinky, Stelitzia summon back Power Patron. And now for our 5th summon, we have the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So the good thing about the ElvenNotes engine, since it places a continuous spell or continuous traps with the Fortuna, we now have a free spell to send off of our LZ since we've already activated the Homecoming Parallelism for this turn. But again, we are locked into synchros, but that doesn't really matter too much for us. We'll go LZ, add Sylvie, normal summon, add the tails, summon our Resilia, send the tails, add the LZ Azamina, reset the tails. Now you can activate the tails here to add us our Diabells of the White Forest if we want to recycle the tails. We'll go Diabell, synchroing off the LZ Azamina of the White Forest to get access to our simple spoils stuff. Chain block it with our Diabell. And we will add back that Homecoming Parallelism. Off of the LZ search, we're going to add the Deception of the Simple Spoils. Normally, if you don't have access to the Wanted already, with the LZ search, you are going to search the Wanted because we want access to that Diabell star, and that Diabell star is going to set the Deception. We will activate a Tails here, add us our Diabell's the White Witch, And since we have that center main monster zone cleared up, we can go ElvenNotes Lucina here. ElvenNotes Lucina to add us our Fortuna. Now where the level 10s come into play is we do have that Sylvie still in the graveyard to shuffle back the Resilia. Special summon the Sylvie, synchro off with the level 6 to get it off of our center main monster zone into something like a Fabled Lazable. But we can also just use the Deception here to tribute off the ElvenNotes Lucina to clear up the main monster zone and add us that Debtors. Now we'll go into the Diabell's the White Witch, sending that Deception because the Deception is going to set itself at the end. We'll send the Curse add Philia, and it's pretty standard White Forest combo from here. Philia, add our Diabell's Star Vengeance. You want to keep this center main monster zone open so we can special summon this Fortuna here. We'll go Witch to thin out our deck. We'll grab that last copy of Elzette since we want to keep everything in our hand. So be sure when you special summon like your Diabell Star, things like that, that you move it to the side monster zones so that you don't summon it to the center. We will set the Betrayal Severa off the Diabell Star, so we now have another back row negate to protect us against board interactions. We'll special summon our ElvenNotes Fortuna into that center main monster zone. We'll activate Fortuna to place the Rhapsodia, and this Rhapsodia is also a negate. We'll activate that Homecoming Parallelism again. Finally end off with the Diabell Star Vengeance, banish a spell and a trap. Now all of our Diabells are 3k as well. We'll set that Debtors and go to end phase, and Deception will set itself. I know this was a little bit of a short video. Again, I go into more in-depth look at each of the ElvenNotes monsters, what their effects do and what they do. I do cover that in the previous video of the ElvenNotes, so make sure you go give that a watch. I just really wanted to touch up on this archetype again since the Burst Protocol pre-release is coming this weekend. I hope you really enjoyed this video and hope you found it helpful. If you're looking forward to playing ElvenNotes, let me know down in the comments below. If you're going to be playing ElvenNotes White Forest this weekend, let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Help out the channel. We're so close to getting a YouTube partnered. But that being said, guys, gals, enemies, YouTube catters, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, good night.